Okay, looks like we're all here today. We're at our Please Wash Your Hands, Clean Hands campaign for Solano County Schools District. My name is Dawn Adams. I'm the facilitator. I've met most of you as you were coming in, so we'll take some time to go ahead and everyone go around and introduce themselves. Okay, so the agenda, we're going to go over the goals of the program, briefly talk about how to present the campaign to the students in the classrooms, and then we have a couple of activities we're going to participate in, and then we're going to come back for a second workshop as it gets closer to the launch and actually use products that are going to be explained in this presentation. So as I already said, the campaign is going to launch at the beginning of this school year to coincide with Global Hand Washing Day, and it's going to happen at the beginning of every single school year. We really believe in the importance of teaching this life skill. We believe hand washing is a life skill, and we want to teach the children that it's important and why it's important and how to do it appropriately. It's something that they're always going to be doing, and they can share it with their families. And we'll talk about how to prevent the spread of illness as much as possible, and we're going to have demonstration activities, and the students are going to get to actively participate. So of course we want the program to be fun and engaging, and it is a science-based program. And as you go into the classrooms, you'll have different age groups. As you'll see, you'll have third graders one day, and you might have sixth graders another day, and maybe kindergartners, and then some of you are going to be in middle school and high school. And you'll be able to make each lesson age appropriate and incorporate what they're learning about microbes, for instance, in a biology class if you're in high school. And of course, the ultimate goal is to decrease absenteeism from these illnesses such as colds and flus in our schools so that their attendance is better and hopefully improving their academic performance. So before you came in, you were asked to submit a question or two. And when you're in the classrooms with the students, this is what you're going to do. You're going to ask them, because we want them to be active participants in your 30-minute program that you'll be presenting. So you're going to get some interesting answers, but depending on the age group. Some of the questions might be, what are germs? Why is it important to wash our hands? And when should we wash? And how should we wash? So these are all things that you're going to cover in your presentation in each of the classrooms that you go into. And you're going to talk about how some of these viruses and bacteria make us sick. Not all of them, but the ones that do, we want to be able to wash our hands. That's one of the points of washing our hands, and that germs are everywhere. And we're going to, well, one of the questions that was asked that you submitted was, how can we have to lather, why is it important to lather soap on our hands and to scrub our hands? And that is a question that you may get from the students. And so the CD says that when you're rubbing your hands together and creating that friction and making sure you're getting the backs of your hands and under your nose, it helps lift the dirt and grease and microbes up from the skin. And they're attracted to the soap. And so under the water, then a lot of them will be removed and keep us healthy. And there's a video. So one of the demonstrations we're going to do right now, you'll see set up around the classroom, there's bowls of water and there's shakers of pepper, and then there's another separate dish that has dishwashing soap in it. And so when you shake the pepper into the bowls, go ahead and do that now. So the pepper represents the germs and the water is your skin. So you're shaking the pepper, the germs onto your skin. And now you're going to dip your finger into the water that has the pepper. And then you're going to dip it into the little plate that has the soap in it. And then you're going to dip that back into the water, and you'll see the pepper, the germs scatter. They want to go away from the soap. The soap has properties that allow the germs to slough off, to come off of your hand. And another question that was submitted before you came in was about hand sanitizer, like how come we can't just use hand sanitizer? And again, the CDC says that the hand sanitizers are good for removing some germs, but they don't remove as many. And they gave examples of like Clostridium, norovirus, Cryptosporidium, as they don't take care of those germs like the soap and water does. And then it's also important too, like if the kids they're playing in dirt and their hands get dirty, the hand sanitizer is not going to get rid of that. It's going to maybe make it worse or make it sticky. So soap and water is important, and then hand sanitizer when we don't have access to it. So now we're going to break out into two groups of two for our group, and you'll see boxes of tissue around the classroom. And when you go to the classrooms, when you're visiting the classrooms for the students, you're going to demonstrate this, but you're not going to ask the students to do this. Can you imagine a group of 8-year-olds or 6-year-olds or 10-year-olds doing this role playing, and they're sneezing or coughing around the classroom? We don't want that. So you're going to do this in groups of two right now, but you're going to be demonstrating this on your own in the classroom. So you're going to, the main message, use a tissue when you cough or sneeze, and then putting the used tissue in a wastebasket, of course. If they don't have a tissue, using their elbows, their upper sleeve, sneezing, coughing or sneezing into their elbow, not their hands. That's the whole point of coughing or sneezing into the upper sleeve. We don't want them to do that into their hands. And then hopefully turning their head away from people that are near them so they're not coughing or sneezing in front of that person. They're turning away from them to do so if they can. And then reminding them it's important to wash their hands after coughing or sneezing. And this is a little poster. You'll have a couple of posters with you when you come into the classrooms to leave with the teachers, and then the schools will be delivering those to the schools, and they can post them into their restrooms as well. So again, this is a fun activity to show them just the etiquette of how to cough, how to sneeze, but we don't want the students to be doing this. This is an activity that even though you were able to do this today in our workshop, you're going to do it by yourself. We don't want the kids doing this around the classroom. Asking them questions, making sure the students are actively involved at every level of your 30-minute presentation with them. Asking them when they should wash their hands. You might get some interesting answers depending on the age group that you have. And you could actually, if you could add to this list, if they have baby brothers or sisters, maybe teaching them it's important to wash your hands before playing with your little brother and sister, before giving them a hug. And when they get home from school, it's important, first thing you should do when you come from school, go in and wash your hands. And then how to wash your hands. Some of the classrooms are going to have sinks in them and some are not. So you're going to talk about how to wash the hands, and then you're going to, as we get into the glow germ activity with the students, actually go over this even in further detail. And they'll be able to actually see on their hands what we're talking about. And here's that activity. So the Glow Germ Company, this is the portion of the presentation that we're going to do in a workshop all by itself right before the launch when we have the products with us, because I want you to be able to interact with people with the company. They're going to come in and they're going to train us. And basically what we want to do is, and the kids love this activity, by the way, as well. We did this as a pilot program a few months ago, and they were so excited about it. They ran home, they told their parents about it, and so we contacted the PTA at that school, and they were able to fund a 30-minute presentation, the same presentation given to their students. They were able to come in one night, and we were able to do this with them. And so that went over really well. So this is what we want to do. This is the highlight of our campaign when we come into the classrooms. So you'll place a small amount, about the size of a nickel, of this glow germ lotion on their hands, and they'll rub it into their hands, at both sides of their hands, in between their fingers and around their nails. And then they're going to place their hands under, you're going to have a UV flashlight shown here. And there's some other lights too, depending on what they provide us, the company. And you're going to, so when they put their hands under the light, they'll be able to see all of the spots that they missed. They'll be glowing. And so the picture up here is after somebody who's already washed their hands. So they saw all the glowing spots before they washed their hands, and even after, you can see they missed around their nails. Real important to point that out to the students, that a lot of germs live under our nails. So we want to make sure we get the soap around our nails and all that when we're washing our hands. So this was a really fun activity, and this is the highlight of our activity that the students will get to do. And then at the very end of the lesson, the students will be provided with this letter, just letting them know that today was the day that you came into the classroom and gave this presentation. And it mentions that it's instructional material provided from the CDC, and it was for 30 minutes, and that the same program will be presented to them by their PTA. And this information, they knew that we were coming in prior to that day. This is just letting them know that it happened. And then it'll also be on their school loop. So each school has its own site. It's called, in our area, it's called School Loop, where the teachers and the parents can communicate, and they can check it every day. They can check for grades. They can check for messages from the school and from the teacher. And so this will be on there, so they'll know that this is coming up, and they'll know when this is open. In case this letter gets lost in the backpacks, this letter will be on the school loop as well. So they'll know before we get there and then after. And so thank you for participating, and just kind of remember our goal is to have healthy students. We believe that healthy student is a better learner, that our work is important, that we need to educate our students right now on proper hand hygiene, especially with all that's going on. There's always something spreading around, and of course now with coronavirus, and then we're still in flu season. And then a lot of you, your student nurses, some of you, and volunteers, add your energy and enthusiasm to the topic and to your presentations and what you know about the different age groups. And then we'll have additional workshops as well, like I said, to keep this on base, on par with everything. And then we'll actually do the Glow Germ. Once we have those products, we'll have a workshop just for that, so you can see and do the presentation, practice doing the presentation before you go into the classrooms. So thank you so much for participating today.